This video is sponsored by my Patreons. More on that at the end of the video. It's fair to say, signals are the things that stop trains from colliding into each other. It can go from green and to yellow and from red. But however, if the signal is ignored, not only will it get someone fired, but it can lead to a deadly crash or collision. And that's exactly what happened to Secaucus 29 years ago. This is the story of the 1996 Secaucus train collision.
Secaucus, Secaucus, 2021, is a town in Hudson County, in the U.S. state of New Jersey. As of the 2020 United States Census, the town's population was 22,181, 10/11, an increase of 5,917, plus 3.64%, from the 2010 census count of 16,264, 22/23, which in turn reflected an increase of 333, plus 2.1%, from the 15,931 counted in the 2000 census. 24. Located within the New Jersey Meadowlands, it is the most suburban of the county's municipalities, though large parts of the town are dedicated to light manufacturing, retail, and transportation uses, as well as protected areas. 25. Secaucus is a derivation of the Algonquian words for black, seek or sukit, and snake, achguk, or place of snakes. 26. 27, or secakes, referring to snakes. On the evening of the 8th of February, 1996, at approximately 6:11 p.m. EST, NJ Transit engineer John J. D. Curtis officially began his night shift, which would last a little over 12 hours including a 5-hour break in between. This was the usual shift that this engineer worked by choice since 1992, and with him was assigned conductor Stephen Miller and an unnamed assistant conductor, 1. For most of the first 7 hours of this night shift, D. Curtis mainly operated Bergen County line trains between Hoboken Terminal and Waldwick Station so as to adhere to the rush hour timetable and the later off-peak runs into the night. However, as D. Curtis and Miller went about their shift, signal issues that would persist into the early hours of the 9th of February developed on the Port Jervis line. Nonetheless, D. Curtis operated his last evening train normally and without incident as he departed Hoboken Terminal at 11:50 p.m. and arrived at Suffern around 12:49 a.m. on the 9th. D. Curtis and his crew signed off duty for what was supposed to be their 5-hour break at 12:58 a.m. 1, although it was later noted by Miller that for the first 15 minutes after signing off, D. Curtis and Miller secured the train and then walked to the first car so as to rest sleep for the majority of the given break time. 2. An alarm clock was set by the crew so that they would wake up at 5:30 a.m. to operate a return trip to Hoboken before signing off for the day. 1. At 5:44 a.m., D. Curtis and Miller officially signed back in. The crew then spent around 30 minutes performing the necessary break and startup tests and procedures before departing Suffern Station at 6:12 a.m. with a Bergen County line semi-local to Hoboken. 1. 3. This trip went uneventfully and the crew arrived back at Hoboken just after 7:13 a.m. when the train master requested D. Curtis and Miller operate train number 1254 as the original crew was delayed due to the previous night's signal issues on the Port Jervis line. D. Curtis and Miller accepted the assignment and the train master later reported that they did not look fatigued. 1. D. Curtis, Miller, and the unnamed assistant conductor took command of a consist that consisted of one Comet 2 cab car, number 5146, 4 trailer Comet I cars, and a GP40PH2 number 4110. The crew then ran non-revenue until reaching Waldwick and turning around to be switched onto track 2 to become train number 1254. Train number 1254 departed Waldwick at 8:03 a.m. Estate, about 5 minutes later than the 7:58 a.m. departure time. 4. The train was in the push configuration with GP40PH2 number 4110 pushing while Comet 2 cab car number 5146 now led the train. Following departure from Waldwick, Miller reminded the engineer, saying, "We make all the stops except Glen Rock." Miller and the assistant conductor then spent the majority of the trip collecting tickets and chatting with passengers. Miller later recalled that this was likely his last direct conversation with the engineer too. Later testimony from the surviving crew indicated that they took no exception to the engineer's handling of the train either on previous trips, nor on the then current run of train number 1254 up until the accident. All the scheduled passenger stops at Hohokus, 5, Ridgewood, Radburn Fair Lawn, 6 Broadway Fair Lawn, Plaudeville, Garfield, Rutherford, and later Harmon Cove, it was replaced by Secaucus Junction by 2003, were made without incident. The train's final stop was supposed to be Hoboken Terminal, with an arrival expected at 8:44 a.m. Train number 1107, headed for Suffern, had departed Hoboken Terminal at 8:31 a.m. Estate, about 1 minute late. Train number 1107 was operated by engineer Alfonso de Bonis, as well as an unnamed conductor and assistant conductor. This train was operating in pull mode at the time of the accident, with GP40PH2A number 4148 leading the train of 5 Comet I trailer cars, and 1 Comet I cab car, number 5120. At the time of the collision, the train held 125 passengers and 2 deadheading NJT employees who were traveling to Suffern so they could operate another train that originated there. Both trains were running in push-pull configuration. Train number 1254 had left Harmon Cove Station at 8:33 a.m. with 275 passengers and accelerated to 53 miles per hour. Meanwhile, train number 1107 departed Hoboken at 8:31 a.m. with 125 passengers aboard. Train number 1254 soon passed a medium approach position light signal telling the train to slow down at 34 miles per hour, according to black box data. The next signal would show the engineer a stop indication at Bergen Junction to wait for train number 1107 to pass before train number 1254 would be allowed to continue to Hoboken. Train number 1254 continued to slow until about 71 feet before the stop signal. The engineer then accelerated the train to 20 miles per hour after passing the red signal. Shortly afterward, the engineer likely noticed the misaligned switch or saw train number 1107 and the emergency brake was activated. Several moments earlier, train number 1107 had been shown a clear signal and was approaching the western end of Bergen Junction at 53 miles per hour. The track speed for that section was 70 miles per hour. Train number 1254 was moving at 18 miles per hour when the collision occurred. Passenger accounts on train number 1254 describe the sound of the brakes and the blaring of the train horn.
Then it happened. The 2 trains collide.
Cab car number 5146 was ripped open in the collision, killing the engineer John J.D. Curtis and a passenger aboard train number 1254, Arthur David Stern. Locomotive 4148's roof collapsed in on the cab on impact. The accident was the New York City area's worst train accident since the 1958 Newark Bay Rail accident.
I made a documentary about this disaster. I link here in the description.
The New Jersey Transit Police Department was notified at 8:40 a.m. and arrived at the accident site 13 minutes later. Other emergency services arrived within about 10 to 20 minutes after the first several 911 calls were made, although the response of the first responders was initially hampered by the inaccessibility of accident location. The conductor of train number 1254 was able to evacuate all passengers of the train with the help of the assistant conductor. The conductor aboard train number 1107 was reported to be visibly upset, repeatedly crying that people are dead, which also worried many passengers. The 2 deadheading NJ Transit employees helped evacuate the train instead. After the evacuation, the remaining crew members stood watch to flag down any oncoming trains. Both crews aboard both trains did not use the public address system to communicate with passengers. They instead went from car to car yelling for passengers to exit the train. The assistant conductor aboard train number 1254 later reported that he did not know if the public address system was working or not, so he did not use it. The conductor aboard train number 1107 could not recall if the system worked or not. Throughout the evacuation process, both train crews communicated by handheld radio. The accident was first reported by the engineer of eastbound NJ Transit train number 1400 on the main line a little after 8:40 a.m. Following the accident, Comet 2 cab car number 5146 was scrapped, while GP40PH2 number 4110 and Comet I cab car number 5120 continued in revenue service until their eventual retirement, and in the case of Comet I cab car number 5120, donation to the Whippany Railroad Museum in New Jersey. 1 year later, in 1997, GP40PH2A number 4148 was rebuilt and put back in service as GP40PH2B number 4219 following the rebuild. The total damage from the accident was estimated at $3.3 million USD by NJ Transit.
It's been 29 years since the disaster, and hopefully we never see another disaster like this ever again.